What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Cornelia, back with another episode of Black News, a podcast where we break down current events, hot topics, and local stories involving Black people. Now let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome. Hi again. Happy whatever day it is that you're listening to this. I'm recording this on Tuesday. Got a late start to the week, but I'm here, back, bigger, better than ever. I feel regular, guys. I feel better than ever. But hope you guys having a good week. Couple housekeeping updates. I will be off in a couple of weeks, likely the week of September 1st and the following, possibly the following, but definitely the week of September 1st. I got some things coming up I got to tend to. Okay, so I won't be able to record an episode of Black News. So sorry in advance. And I ain't even gonna hold you, y'all. It's just with the summertime and it's just a lot going on. Some weeks I be like, should I just keep doing the podcast or should I stop? I don't know. It be weighing on me, y'all. I ain't gonna even hold you. It be weighing on me. Because while it is a very simple podcast, it does eat up some time. I love talking to you all. I love talking about topics that are impactful to Black news and Black people, with what be happening and what's coming down the pipeline about what I feel like is going to be taking place as it relates to us. I want to keep going, but hey, y'all be tired, okay? Hey, your girl be pooped. But I do enjoy connecting with you all. So that is never changing. But with that in mind, again, keep it in the back of your mind. In a couple weeks, I'm gonna be off, but we're here today. Okay, we're here today. With that, it's a one topic in particular I want to get into, which is pretty heavy and it's really been weighing on me. It's been weighing on me a lot. But before I get into that, I want to give an update on Nolan Wells, which has been weighing on me as well. And no real updates, but just to say that we still don't know what's going on. One interesting thing, and it's only interesting, I'm only using that word because it was the first word that came to mind. I don't actually think it's interesting at all. It seems kind of typical or predictable, I will say. There has been an update regarding the friend group. They have taken on the legal advisement of one of the Mr. Red Hat in the house, his former attorneys. And all of this is allegedly, because they talking about they suing people. Okay, I ain't got time for none of this. Allegedly. They've taken on that legal representation and now they are on an interview run, doing interviews alone as a group with right-wing platform and media talking about the case. And in one instance, they did a sit down. It was the three of them with their attorney and with that Black man who is a Red Hat supporter, which is very strange. He seems very strange. But at one point, it was just full on gaslighting. They even blamed Nolan Wells' mother for making this about race, saying that she brought all of this vitriol to them by posting the picture with Nolan and them. And it was just really peculiar. Now, let me say this again. There have been no updates. We have not heard from the medical examiner. We have not gotten the results of the autopsy done by the state of Mississippi. They said it was done, but we have not gotten that. We do know that they're planning to take the case to the grand jury. The challenge with that is that if the grand jury does not decide that this needs to go to trial, all of that evidence will never be shared with the public. That's from what I gather based on what I've heard and read. If it goes to the grand jury and it does not go to trial, we just won't ever know. Also, do believe that I read or heard somewhere that Ben Crump, his legal team, and the Nolan Wells family seem to be setting themselves up to be able to file a civil suit, because with that in mind, there will be discovery related to that. So that does open up another opportunity to find out what actually happened. But we don't know if there's an actual investigation. We don't know if police down there are investigating. We don't know if they're equipped to take on an investigation like this. We know based on other cases that I'm going to talk about happening down there that it seemed like they're not really doing any due diligence to find out what actually happened. Allegedly, allegedly. We don't know if they've talked to any witnesses. We don't know if they've collected witness statements from people who are on Horn Island. We don't know if they are following up on any leads. We don't know if they pulled cell phone data, digital data, scrubs, call Snapchat, gave them a subpoena. We don't know none of that. We don't know if the FBI has been involved, Justice Department. We also know that the Justice Department FBI is led by the Red Hats, and it's likely if they are looped in that they may allegedly try to bury this case. So here we are. So I will say this again, and I said this weeks ago. I feel like this case and similar situations that are happening are they're a real-time litmus test on what we need to prepare for from now into the future. This will show us if a young man allegedly can go to an event, all of the friends come back, the young man does not return. 3 days later, 3 days later, he turns up unalived. It took this, nobody reported it. The friend group scrubbed their social media. If all of these can happen in front of our eyes and nothing is held, nobody's held accountable, there's no real results, it just gets buried or dismissed or nothing happens, we should expect similar action widespread moving forward because this is being done in front of our faces. And again, that's not to say that whoever was with him did anything, but something happened. I think that's what people seem to be like forgetting. And I'm not saying everybody's forgetting because I know us, the Black News listeners, we're not forgetting that. But the reality is something happened. And if something happened to my friend, I'm going to have to hit the pavement and beat the streets to see what went wrong. So I just, it's just. So we're going to continue to keep the family of Nolan Wells lifted in prayer. And we just going to keep the momentum around his name in the media. We just going to keep it going because unfortunately, we just not going to let something like this just disappear. We're here. We here now. Okay. We here. But with that, let me know if you watched any of those interviews. I ain't watched all of them. I just watched clips, child. I don't have the patience. But let me know if you watched it or if you heard other parts of this, other elements or interviews that came out and have something that I should be paying attention to. Let me know. You can find me at Keneally on social media. So I just mentioned Nolan Wells and the tragic situation around him and him no longer being here. And while we're having all of those conversations and social media is continue to keep his name at the forefront of news, what's simultaneously happening is people around the country are now starting to get some visibility on cases local to them, cases that have a personal connection to them, where Black people, other Black people, have been found unalived, hung, lynched all throughout this country, cases that have been underreported, not investigated, swept under the rug. We are now learning all of this information. And I'm not saying that nobody was talking about these before, but it is now really being put together in front of our faces. The fact that something is happening, we need to pay attention to it. And it is starting, from my opinion, to feel like the history that we've read right after Reconstruction all the way through Jim Crow when it comes to Black people being unalive, specifically lynched in the United States of America. Now, what sparked the most recent discussion, right? Because we're finding out that there are many, was a case involving a young woman named Tasia Fortune. Out of nowhere, again, we just on social media, living our lives, throughout doing whatever. And reports started being circulated that a 29-year-old woman in Mississippi, her body was found hanging outside an abandoned house, hanging from a tree. And I'm reading up the article from AP. Police have not identified whether they consider the 29-year-old Black woman's death suspicious, saying only that they're actively working to determine the circumstances surrounding the death. Now, before I continue on, Black people don't hang themselves. Am I saying that no Black person has ever hung themselves? No, that's not what I'm saying. But I am saying, based on the history of Black people in this country, and based on the legacy of Jim Crow, as it relates to lynchings, based on the generational trauma, the stories and legacies that have been passed, the history that was transported throughout the United States during the Great Migration, and one of the main reasons why the mass majority of Black people fled the American South was due to lynchings. So when I see an article that says police have not identified whether they consider the 29-year-old Black woman's death suspicious, I immediately call bullshit, because what was later revealed during in other articles is that the fire department had to get their ladder to get her down because she was up in a tree so high. So you telling me that Black people are scaling trees too tall for a regular ladder, then monkey barring themselves out on the branch, hanging on with one arm, tying a noose with another, putting it around their neck, then also tying it around the tree and then hanging it. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. That's not how it works. In order for you to get up there, somebody had to put you up there. And I'm sorry if this is graphic and this is unlistenable, if that's a word for you guys, but I need to say that this plain. Black people do not be doing that. Now let me put it into perspective. And y'all know one thing I'm gonna do is repeat myself on Black News Podcast, okay? But we need to get it. Ugh. Between roughly around the back end of the 1870s, but for the sake of the conversation, we're going to say right after emancipation, through 1950, research documents that roughly 4,000 lynchings of Black American men, women, and children happened in the United States of America. As we know, these were varied from people being accused of crimes that they didn't commit, people just being upset that they were Black, you not stepping off the sidewalk. It don't matter. All roughly 4,000 people were documented to have been lynched in the United States of America through 1850. Men, women, and children. That means on average, and I don't have the averages in front of me, I'm just digging back in my mental database where I read, that means roughly a Black person was lynched in this country on average of every 3 days. And that number could even change if we had an ability to find out everybody who was lynched that was Black in this country. Because you got to keep in mind, a lot of places in the American South, in the Midwest, did not have access to journalism. There was no way to report the lynching of a family member or a friend. You were fearful of telling anybody due to more violence. And in some cases, people just the family friends just ditched town because they could not handle this and they did not want to be next. So there were a lot of people who died and were lynched due to racial terror that we just don't know about. And y'all know Black families don't be talking. So you could literally see somebody getting lynched and move away and never say a word. So we just talking about documented lynchings, okay? Now I'm getting pissed off just reading this. So again, this was, and I'm reading this. This says from 1877. Now, I'm going to read the full statement. Total victims. Over 4,000 documented racial terror lynchings of black men, women, and children occurred across 12 southern states from 1877 to 1950. An additional 2,000 instances occurred during the Reconstruction era from 1865 to 1876. So if we talking about from 1865 through 1950, roughly 6,000 people were lynched, black. Let's also, because I read some publications years ago that talked about how lynchings were simultaneously happening in this country to the Mexican community, the Latino Hispanic community. But due to the racial barrier, not the racial barrier, the language barrier, and due to the fact that a lot of American citizens could not read or find any publications to be able to attest to that, that wasn't reported the same way it was reported for Black people. So it's highly likely that those same numbers exist for a different demographic, especially when you think about the American South and Southwest and the West. It's a town in California, Northern California, known as Hangtown. They was hanging people. Like, so we talking about complete terror in this country. So with that, going back to the case with Tasia Fortune, it is very traumatizing and alarming, and it should be a signal to all of us that something is happening. Now, there was a report, and I didn't see the article. I just saw people cutting and pasting a little clip that there was a black man who was interviewed as a suspect in this case. I also saw, I posted something about this on social media, and a man who lives in that community was saying this, how interesting this is, because where Tasia's body was found, it is a primarily black part of town where it's, a lot of abandoned houses and things. So for her to be found back there is just real interesting. All of this is, again, something that I think we all need to be paying attention to. In addition to the fact that people have now been gathering names and keeping record of all of the people recently that have been found hanging from trees. Now, I'm just going to read through a couple of them because, y'all, people been really coming out with this, and it is alarming. One person said, and this is, if I say the names wrong, I'm so sorry, y'all. Y'all know I do not mean it. Okay. February 2024, Trevante Schubert Hilton, age 29, in Georgia. September 2024, Javion McGee, age 21, in North Carolina. June 2025, Earl D. Smith, age 58, in New York. September 2025, DeMar Travion Reed, age 21, in Mississippi. November 2025, Torrance Troy Medley, age 39, in Wisconsin. February 2026, Kyle Basinga, age 21, in Georgia. May 2026, Juliana Nazita, age 16, in North Carolina. June 2026, Tania Nicole Miller, age 27, in Florida. June 26, Gerard J. Jackson, age 28, in Michigan. August 2026, Tasia Fortune, age 29, Mississippi. Cedric Tahuye in Charlotte, North Carolina. There was another spreadsheet that was circulating of other names. We have a man named Denoris Richardson, 2024. He was found in Colbert County. Earl Smith in Albany. Tania Miller in Charlotte. Gerard Jackson in Rothbury. Justice Kai James in Albany. Y'all, something is happening. There is no way this many and probably more, because you got to think some people's families don't have access to social media like this many people, black people, have been found hanging within the last 2 to 3 years. When I tell y'all, especially after hearing about Tasia Fortune, I have been feeling so much distress. I have been feeling so distressed about this. And I think one of the reasons why, like many of us, I just don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. On one hand, and I'm not one of these people, but y'all know who I'm talking about. People are like, we ain't our ancestors. We ain't our ancestors. You damn right. We about to see. We about to see in real time we not our ancestors. Because there is this myth that people weren't doing anything or like what was happening during this time. We have access to technology, all of these resources, child camera surveillance, and our hands are literally tied. Like, what can we do? And if we feel helpless in 2026, I cannot imagine how someone felt in 1890, 1912, 1932, all the way through 1950. I cannot imagine. I just feel so lost, y'all, and disappointed and frustrated. And I'm getting emotional because I'm just mad as hell. Like, what are we gonna do? Like, I just can't. Ugh. Because real talk, everybody think they really about it. Everybody think they about it. Maybe I think I'm about it. I don't know. But we're literally looking at a list of people in our communities that are being hung. They're being lynched in 2026. Y'all, and what can we do? Like, let's think, right? Let's think. We can, well, at least members of our community that feel like they are in a position to be able to protect and surveillance and patrol. Maybe we can set up some type of like neighborhood community group that's looking out for each other. Maybe we can set up an online database that's tracking these things. I saw a young man on Threads was saying he's a journalist, and he, since being inspired by Ida B. Wells's work, years ago, a century ago, he is now compelled to go to the South and investigate these lynchings. Is it that us just constantly talking about it and finding ways to share it on social media and keep these names at the forefront, is that what's going to help? I don't know. I don't know. But literally, how do you stop someone from being in harm's way like this when you don't even know who it is you're looking for? I just, oh, y'all. And I'm also wondering, and I'm not asking this because I thought they ever went away, but is the Klan back live? You know what we need? We need some, like, and I'm talking about back, and I don't know if this is really realistic. Somebody got to go undercover and infiltrate. If they are back online, somebody got to infiltrate and figure out what the fuck is going on. Because there's no way that people across states are on the same page about methods of harming Black people unless there is an underground conversation happening or a signal that this is what we're going to be doing. I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching. I don't know. But all I do know is that I'm not alone in this feeling. And I never thought, I'm, I'm not going to say that I never thought we would be back here. I will say I never expected to feel this confused or helpless with all these things happening. I never thought that if we got here, I would be feeling like there was nothing that I could do. And I'm not talking like I'm Superman or damn Tony Stark, right? I'm not acting like I'm out here like, yeah, because if it would, I would expect that I would have been out here. I would have at least thought that the feeling of us feeling stuck or just unsure about what we can do, I just wouldn't have expected this. I just didn't expect it. Because we literally I understand, and I don't understand to the extent I know our ancestors were under a threat of violence that does not compare to what some of us are going through, especially me. I know that, but I feel like I get it. Like I get it. Like if somebody was lynched, like I get it. Like I just sometimes it seems so. Oh, I just can't. So what I'm gonna do, because everybody got a part, right? We all got a part to play. I talk about this all the time. Everybody don't got to do the same thing. We don't. Some people's job is to mobilize. Some people are donators. Some people's job is to actually be the leader. Some people are soldiers. Some people need marching orders. Hell, some people's job ain't doing shit because let me keep it a buck. Y'all know I love pointing back to this. We often romanticize with everybody ancestors, everybody relative, everybody was marching on with Dr. King. Everybody was on Washington. No, some people hated them. They ain't wanting nothing to do with it. Some people wasn't. Everybody wasn't boycotting the buses. Some people was on the bus talking about some. Well, I got to get to work. Some people was on that bus. So again, I'm not even going to do that. But my part, what I'm going to do in the immediate is what I've been doing. I'm going to keep coming here and talking about it and spreading what I hear. If I find out something, y'all find out something. If I see this posted on social media, I'm coming back to y'all and I'm updating y'all. Because y'all are probably like me. Until you hear and see them names listed, you probably didn't realize, yo, it's something is happening, and we need to wake up fast. So what I'm gonna do, y'all know my role. I'm gonna keep on, and that's why I talked about at the top of this episode. Sometimes I'll be like, man, do I have to keep doing this podcast? With all of this in mind, I likely will keep doing it because I don't know what else to do. I just don't know what else to do. And until I figure it out, I'm going to be one of the messengers as it relates to delivering real-time news updates that relates to Black people. That's what I got. But let me know y'all thoughts about it. Were you aware that all of this was happening? And I'm missing some names. That doesn't include there was a young woman in Mississippi that was shot in the head. Like it's y'all, this ain't even all of it. More stuff coming out every day. But let me know. What are your plans? And have you heard about any of this? Like I said, hit me up. You can find me at Canelia on social media. And I just want to wrap up this episode with just a tip when it comes to being on social media. Because I know a lot of us are on it. Some of us not as much. Some don't really fool with it. I'm chronically online, so I be seeing all kind of shit. But one thing that I have learned, and this will go a long way from some people, when you on there talking and posting and it's just saying stuff, make sure you even if it take a second, just do a quick Google search or some quick research before you post something definitive, especially as it relates to history and Black history, one. And two, make sure it is that you, at the very least, look at the profile of the person you about to respond to and talk crazy to. Okay? Just check. Just do a little peek. Just do a quick peek. And what sparked this is maybe last week, I was just on there on Threads lollygagging, hanging out, looking around. And I saw this post from this guy. He said, Black dude, he said, I'm a firm believer that the government should have never got rid of segregation The Black communities thrived when left alone uninterrupted. Nicole Hannah Jones, who is a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, historian, the creator, on author, and curator of the 1619 Project, a project that specifically talks about the full and complete history of Black people in this country, and the impacts of slavery, the minute we got here through now. She responded to that statement and said, please read. And then this man responds to her, Nicole Hannah Jones, and says, I've done plenty, of which is why I made this post. If you don't understand how we got here, then either say that or state your disposition so I can cook you. I got a good 30 minutes. My brother in Christ, I have never, and I won't say never, it's been a while since I've seen somebody get dragged like he got dragged after he posted this response to Nicole Hannah Jones. I even responded and said, brother, do you know who that is? If you gonna talk to anybody about Black history, if you gonna say to anybody, you don't know what you talking about, you don't understand, and I'ma cook you based on Black history, it damn sure won't ever be Nicole Hannah Jones. That's like, and I'm being dramatic with this example, but y'all gonna get it. That's like somebody during slavery in the Underground Railroad pulling up and being like, yeah, because ain't no way people escaping the freedom on foot. They ain't happening. It's impossible. And then Harriet Tubman being like, sir, that's just not the case. And then him saying to Harriet Tubman, you better check yourself because you don't know what you're talking about. And before I cook you, you need to recognize. The fuck, that's Harriet Tubman. She walked the treacherous roads to freedom in the dark, okay? She led countless souls out of bondage from chattel slavery into the promised land. You gonna say that to Harriet Tubman? And now, I'm not saying Nicole Hannah Jones is Harriet Tubman, but I'm saying if anybody would know the documented history of Harriet Tubman and our people in this country, it would be Nicole Hannah Jones. And if anybody would know history about us being segregated, thriving communities or lack thereof, child, who she literally, she got a Pulitzer Prize. I say all that to say, to quote Nicole Hannah Jones, please read. Because not only did the community of Threads drag him through the mud, I'm talking about that boy was getting whooped. And bless Nicole Hannah Jones because she be going through it. People be trying her all the time. But y'all, we got to do better. And then to go back to his original comment, y'all, this don't nothing make me more upset. Well, I won't say nothing. Y'all know what I mean. One thing that really pisses me off is when people romanticize Black history as it relates to us. And a specific, this comment that he said that Black people, we should have never got rid of segregation, we thrived. That's not necessarily true because people are forgetting the idea of separate but equal, because during segregation, there was no but equal. Okay. There was no but equal. I'll point to a story that I read in Warmth of Other Suns by Isabel Wilkerson, when she was talking about, she followed three people on their journeys from the South to the Midwest, to the East Coast, and to the West, California. And one thing that I remember her talking about, the story with one of the people in the book, and this is an example of separate but equal. Even the movie theaters, right? Black people had to be up in the balcony. White people could be down on the bottom watching the show. But up top, there wasn't cleaning. It wasn't no maintenance. It smelled like piss all through the movie theater up at the tower Black people were supposed to be sitting. There was no janitorial services coming up, cleaning up that place. Nothing. There were no resources. So while it was separate, it was not equal. The Black bathroom and the white bathroom did not have the same upkeep. The trash man did not come to the black community the same way he went to the white community. The grocery stores, the produce, food deserts, it was not the same as it was. The books in the black schools were not the same quality books in the white schools that were hand-me-down books. The buildings were crumbling. So this idea of us thriving, yeah, I know there were some communities that were. We point to Black Wall Street. But black people, especially in certain parts of America during Jim Crow, were living in extreme poverty. People always point to Cadillac. I have the story about how Cadillac stayed in business because black people didn't keep their money in banks. Yeah, but during the Great Depression, black people were hit the hardest. Everybody didn't have money like that, y'all. So please, I just, ugh. But with that in mind, do y'all know who y'all be talking to on social media? Because I'm going to keep it a buck. I would hate for y'all to be clapping back at somebody in social media and come to find out you was talking cash shit about movies and filmmaking and it happened to be to Ava DuVernay. I would hate for y'all to be having a debate about the creative arts and painting and things and y'all happen to stumble upon Bisa Butler. Like, I would hate this for you. Not the Black News listeners, because we'll be doing crazy stuff like that. But y'all know who I'm talking about. Y'all, let me know. Do y'all know who you be talking to? Hit me up. You can find me at Canelia on social media. On this week's episode of Black News, we gave a quick update as to where we all are regarding the Nolan Wells case. We also talked about Tasia Fortune and the numerous black people that have been unalived across this country due to lynchings. And we also talked a little bit about social media etiquette as it relates to making sure you know who the heck you talking to. Hit me up and let me know your thoughts about all of these topics, Summer 9, and I'll check back with you guys next time. That's it for this week's episode of Black News, y'all. Thanks again for supporting the podcast by sharing, liking, subscribing, and rating 5 stars on your favorite podcast app. To find more information about me, you can check me out at Canelia on social media, as well as on my website, which is canelia.com. And as always, thanks for supporting, and I'll be back next week with new topics and a new episode.